Coming up on Bro Do You Even Talk Pinball, we catch up on pinball news and answer some viewer email questions.
And the main event, we're going to do 2 reviews tonight. WWE Wrestlemania and Aerosmith coming right at you.
Double super jackpot!
I need a ramp. I need a loop. I want targets I can hit. I need the scoop. I need a double super jackpot in my life. That's right.
What's going on, guys? Welcome. It is Monday, April 24th, and you're tuning in to our monthly live-streamed pinball podcast, Bro Do You Even Talk Pinball. I'm Nick Lane.
I'm Kevin Manny.
Well, welcome. Hope everybody's doing well. This is I'm rocking the hoodie today because hoodie weather is pretty much over.
Yeah, you got to get your mileage out of it while you can.
But even in Buffalo, you can wear a hoodie in April, and it's still legit.
Yeah.
So
I mean, Mixer Tuna's in Virginia. He said he wears his all summer. So
yeah. Well, I'm really excited to do this podcast because I really enjoy it. But it's been a couple months since we've done reviews. We did the top 10 Stearns, so it's sort of like a review, but it's been months since we've done legit game reviews. So we're doing not 1, but 2 for this podcast. And the way we did this this time is, number 1, we had a request, a generous donation from Triton, and he requested Aerosmith pinball review. So done, easy. We're happy to accommodate that. Thanks for your support. And then I'll segue this into some promo for us.
Ooh,
We've got
I'm ready for this. Ready?
We've got a Patreon page. And this was requested by people who a lot of times will listen to our podcast or maybe aren't donating through Twitch or just like the Patreon format. So we happily accommodated that. We appreciate the support. And one of the perks that we threw out there is that anybody who is donating at the $5 a month level, they get to vote on what game we're going to review each month. And hopefully we do a game each month, but if it doesn't happen that way, we'll double up like this. So the choice that we gave our viewers this month was either WWE or Batman 66. And surprisingly, people picked WWE, which is cool. I thought people wanted to hear about Batman 66 because it's the new, the newer, hotter thing in town, allegedly. But WWE, and I'm happy to talk about that. And we'll get to that later in the show.
Yeah, that'll be fun to talk about. It's a game that, it kind of gets mixed reviews, so it's going to be fun to kind of give our perspective on it, I think.
Yeah. All right. We want to kick off with Kevin. What do you got on the docket?
Let's jump into some of what we've been doing in pinball kind of stuff. And it's been an interesting few weeks since we last spoke to all of our listeners here. But first, you told me, he said, you needed to remind me during the podcast, just write Papa story car in your notes.
Yeah.
I needed to tell a story, so I'm ready to hear a story.
Well, let me at least touch on Papa. So I went down to Papa. Kevin didn't, but you were at Papa in a way. You were at Papa yesterday, but
we're going to talk about that later.
You weren't at the Papa World Championships. I went down there, and it was a blast. It's the last year that it's at that facility that many people know and love. So it's just a pleasure to be down there. A pleasure to see everybody. It's almost like a family reunion at this point, where you see so many people that you know in pinball. Got to meet a lot of folks who watch our show, so that was a pleasure. Mm-hmm. I managed to qualify in the playoffs for the second day of Classics and then get eliminated. But in my group, that round was Robert Gagno and Jorien Engelbrechtsen.
All right, you'll get a pass for
so that's okay.
Yeah.
That's all right. Listen, it's an honor to make it that far, and it feels good, and it's like mission accomplished for me.
Yep. Well done.
But what I told Kevin, I had the story of shame for me, which people love to hear about mishaps as long as it's not their own. And this was the second day, so this is Friday. And I think the one thing you got to know if you've never been down to Papa or a tournament like that, you start losing your mind. At some point, you're competing at a high level of high players, and some of the players are definitely high level players, and it's just like a casino in there. You can lose track of time. There's so much noise that's going on. So this was after 2 full days of doing this. I was on my way back on Friday night after eating dinner, And I was trying to get back there in time because I got invited to hop in the broadcast booth.
Oh, right. Yeah, I caught some of that. You did a great job.
Thank you. It was a lot of fun. I mean, it's just an honor to be in the broadcast booth at the Papa facility.
I was totally jealous. I was like, damn it, I should have went to Papa.
Yeah, that was my highlight, to be honest. Yeah. It's pretty easy to keep me amused and happy. But anyways, I was pulling in, and the parking lot's kind of a mess. And just I saw a spot from the road where like when you pull in, there's some like railroad tracks on the right and some parking. So, I mean, you can probably see where the story is going. I pull in, I go to the right, and to park, I'm like, I'm just going to cross these railroad tracks.
Oh boy.
Why that was a good idea at the time is beyond me because I'm an idiot. But I got my car stuck on railroad tracks. So I'm just sitting there like it's totally off the wheels. The car is being supported by the railroad tracks.
You're like levitating car trick.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm like flush red. I'm like I've ruined my night. I'm such an idiot. I don't know how I'm going to get out of this. And then thankfully, and this is the reason I'm telling this story. Thankfully, there was this like super group of friends. There must be like 6 or 8 of these folks, and they were out in their car and they were parked and they saw my stupidity, and they like mobilized. They're like, "All right, let's go, team." I'm not even kidding. I think that was the phrase. They said, "Let's go, team," and they hopped on and they were just like working as this magnificent team to get my car unstuck, which they did. And if it wasn't for them, I mean, I don't know what the heck would have happened.
They like assembled the Avengers and came over and what did they do? Did they like lift your car?
They were able to push and like lift.
Wow.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. I mean, I told them I'm grateful, and they could probably tell, but I'm so grateful. And they mentioned one of the guys is like, by the way, I like your show. So of course there you go. So I just want to, if they're listening, everybody's listening from that group, thank you so much for helping me out there. Means a lot to me. And you went from like my heart just sank, ruining my night, to making my day. So thank you.
You made the Papa experience a good one.
Go.
So Namus says super friends, yes.
And story of shame.
Nick Lane goes off the rails literally, yes.
Yeah. That's it. That's it. Could have been worse.
Awesome. So outside of, so you didn't end up staying around for like the after party or anything like that. You had to get home, but you were there for what? Did you go down there Wednesday night?
You know, I went down there like Thursday, like I left Buffalo Thursday morning. So
Thursday to Sunday.
I mean, the after party is so tempting, but by then you're just so much pinball, and I need like that. Here's a pro tip: I need a day to rest. Like I need a day where I don't go to work. So that Monday I take off and I just chill. Mm-hmm. And anybody who's doing Pinburg this year, if this is your first time, I highly recommend taking that Monday off if you can, and just having a day where you just can relax and get back to normalcy, because you will just lose your mind with all that pinball.
Agreed. So like you alluded to, I made my way down to Papa just this yesterday actually. So my dad a couple months ago, we're both fans of the Yankees, and we saw they were playing an interleague game in Pittsburgh, which like never happens because Pittsburgh is a National League city. Yankees are American League. That's about as far as we're going to get into sports.
Thank you.
But nevertheless, we found ourselves down in Pittsburgh in April, and I was like, I've heard sometimes they'll let people come check out Papa. So I emailed Doug, and I was like, actually Facebook message, but what's the difference really? And I said, are you guys going to be around that I could stop in and, pay my respects one last time to Papa headquarters? And he said, yeah, we're actually running a little tournament here. It's from like 5 to 10 or something like that. You can stop by and just come by and check it out. So we did. I did a little walkthrough on Twitch. So if you want to see what after the end of Papa, but before they move out, looks like at Papa, you can see that it was not too disassembled from the World Championships, but some of the machines were moved around. Doug said they were kind of testing out some of the games to get them to basically see what's wrong with them before they move them all over to the convention center for Pinburg this summer. So
cool.
It's a great way to test games by having a little tournament. So
I'm glad you got to see it before they moved.
Yes.
I was feeling bad that you couldn't make Papa this year.
Yeah.
So that worked out for you.
Yep. It felt good. I paid my respects one last time to the Mecca of pinball, but they're not going away. It's just that particular facility is not going to be used anymore, and hopefully they get something. I'm sure whatever they come up with next is going to be just as awesome, and hopefully with better parking where you don't get stuck on the railroad tracks, right?
Sweet. Hopefully.
That's a
hopefully.
win-win.
Parking can only get better. By the way, just a shout out to who was it? Zen there. Just subscribe. So thank you, Zen there.
Yes. Appreciate the support. So we had a little fun in your basement Wednesday morning.
Yeah,
way earlier than we typically play pinball.
way earlier.
So tell us about what happened.
So, well, the backstory is, and correct me if I'm wrong, but Kevin reached out to the Channel 2 News here like 2 years ago when we were going to the New York State Finals, right?
Correct. Yep.
And that guy ignored you.
Yep.
Okay. Did he even respond, or he just like you didn't hear back?
Yeah,
from
I
him?
never heard back from him. Which it's not unheard of.
Right.
It's pretty typical when reporters are very busy and they get a million things thrown at them every day.
Right.
So,
No big
yeah,
deal.
Yeah,
But then 2 years later, he just messaged you a couple weeks ago and says, "I want to do a story now."
yeah, let's do a story.
That's amazing that he saved it
Yeah.
and like put it in his back pocket and brought that up.
We were following each other on Twitter and stuff like that. So,
Okay.
It's like, you stay in people's minds a little bit and eventually things come around. And yeah, so he said, let's get together and do a story on Buffalo Pinball. And it could be whatever you want. So, okay. I said, let's go see if we can do it at Nick's house. And he said, the more people, the merrier. So let's get a whole bunch of people to come out on a Wednesday morning at like 6 a.m.
No kidding.
And play
6 a.m.
pinball.
Yeah, yeah. So they did like a live segment at like 6:20 was the first live segment. And then 6:50 they did a live segment. So you can see, is it online yet, what you've recorded?
It's not. If you go on our Twitch or on our Twitter page, I pinned the story to the top of our Twitter page. So if you go to twitter.com/Buffalo Pinball, it's right on the top. And then there's one video clip they did with me that was like after the other two they did that morning. I talked to him for like a minute about real high level, like what's happening in Buffalo Pinball. I got a plug in for our pedal and plunge tournament that's coming up and our Papa Circuit event this summer real quick. But it was great. It's a great opportunity. We saw a bunch of people join our Facebook group, and our Twitter channel got followed a bunch. A couple people even ended up over at Twitch, so it was great.
Yeah. Yeah, it was nice. I mean, believe me, I was not excited about getting up at 4:45 when the news truck showed up, and they make that nice backing up noise, and they were not supposed to be there until 5:30, so it scared the crap out of me and woke me up. And I mean, just imagine how much the neighbors hate me for that.
Well, I said to Nick, I pulled in and they have this giant news van out in the driveway with a huge antenna coming off the top of it, and I said they probably think somebody got murdered.
Double murder, suicide, something. Yeah, pretty
house.
much.
That's the only time you see a truck like that.
But now my neighbors know all about the Pinball Secrets Out.
Yeah,
they know. They saw that.
Yeah.
But it was cool. Yeah, I mean, long story short, it was just a typical interview, but it gets people to acknowledge and learn and about pinball and know that pinball's going on in Buffalo. Then mission accomplished. It's worth waking up early to do that.
Yeah, and we've had people ask us like, how have you grown pinball in your area, and stuff like that is a huge part of it. It's just like letting people know you're there. We've been doing this for 3 or 4 years now. There are still people in Buffalo and Western New York that don't know we're doing what we do.
No, there's a ton of people.
Yeah.
I mean, it will astound you how many people don't know that like Pocketeer exists or things like that.
Yeah.
But so you slowly win people over.
Yep.
And rumor has it there's some like barcades opening up that I've caught wind of. There's a couple of articles. So we'll see what happens. It's going to be interesting in the next year or two. Buffalo, not just in pinball, but Buffalo is behind cities by like 5 years.
In general.
That's a fact, man. Like if you want to make money in Buffalo, here's what you do. You travel to other cities, find out what they're doing, and just come back and do that.
Yep.
And you can, because it's like you're taking a weird time machine. There's this weird lag.
Yeah, we're just getting Uber and Lyft and all that. So it's like Buffalo's a little behind the times, but we're getting there.
I love Buffalo too, but I'm just saying that's just a fact of life.
Yeah,
So
we're not on the cutting edge, but it's pretty awesome here.
all right, moving on.
So I figured we'd talk a little bit about the Buffalo Pinball League because we never really do that. Was this the third or the fourth season? Third?
Fourth.
Fourth.
I
Wow.
think so. Yeah, we did 2 match plays, and then we did this format. So yeah, the end of the 4th season is coming up.
Fourth season coming to a close. So the way our league works, we meet 8 months out of the year. What is it? September through April.
Yeah.
And then in May we have our playoffs, and the top 4 we have 2 divisions. It's 26 players. Top 4 from A division go to finals, and top 4 from B division go to finals. And we will be streaming that here it's going to be at my place this year. Was it Nick's last year?
So I hosted last year, and I won at my place. So bank on Kevin winning. That's if you're going to host pinball, you might as well have some perks.
Yeah,
along with
let's win.
But we wanted to do it at a place that we can stream, so that's fun. We'll have commentary. I don't know who's going to do that. Who did it last year? Was it Martha and Jay? Oh, Jesus.
They were talking about how there's no ball save on Fireball, a game from like 1980. Of course there's no ball save. Of course.
Jay's insightful comments. It's not. It doesn't end, man. It doesn't end.
Martha was calling Whiplash multi-ball, jump rope multi-ball. So,
Yeah.
that's the kind of high-quality commentary.
We'll see if we can get them back, if they can free up their busy schedules to come out.
It's entertaining, if nothing else. You guys
Make shit up.
Steve Daniels will lose his mind in the chat room.
I don't blame him.
I would too. So yeah, it's fun. I mean, league play, we just kind of do it now, but it's fun to stop and think. We've been playing for 8 months, and Nick and I both made the A final. So
That's right.
It's like
It's all that streaming.
yeah. I honestly, I think it is. Like the first couple of seasons, I think I was in B the first season, and then the second season I was in A, but I didn't make finals. Third season I made the finals, and I'm back again. So there you go.
All right, cool.
So-
By the way, there's no game room updates necessarily, and we won't have to go into that. But I did get a deadly weapon on loan, and from Dave Con W, who is a loyal viewer and is from the Western New York area. Invited us down there to stream, and then one day he's like, "I'll just bring it up to you." So he brought Deadly Weapon up because he's going to sell it eventually, but he knows that we didn't stream it. He was saying they only made like 800 of them. So there's not a lot of these games around. It's Gottlieb from 1990. We're going to be doing that on the Bro Do You Even Pinball live stream on this Thursday at 7 o'clock. And if you're listening to this way in the future, then you can just go to our YouTube channel, which will be archived there. But it's actually, I was playing it a little bit yesterday. It's actually pretty fun. It's a game that I've played at Papa, and it was in like Pinburg Banks, and I had never had a clue what I was doing. But it's got like wonky Gottlieb rules, so you've got to you've got to like know what to like. It gives you options throughout the game, like on mystery awards or like skill shots or things like that, and you got to really pay attention and know what to pick. And like multi-ball, if you don't hit all the shots, you get nothing. It's like all or nothing.
I love
it's
it.
Just,
yeah, I want to play some weird more Gottlieb stuff.
So
chat room loves it.
We've got that.
Yeah, that's good.
Awesome.
It'll be good, and it'll be for sale. If you like the stream, you can buy it.
That's true. Yeah, you can buy it.
So yeah. So I have one gamer update. Big news. You've heard all the noise about and the static about
Thursday at 8. Did I say 7, Brian effing typing? 8 o'clock Eastern.
There you go. Yeah, I mean you can show up at 7 and just hang out for an hour
could.
if you want. But when new pinball machines come out, it's like we've talked a lot about game code. Well, I have a game code update for a game from 1980.
Nerd.
Vector, right there. We're going to put ROMs in it. We're going to update the code, and it's going to be a good time. So I think probably next Monday, if not sooner, I'll install it on stream and then play it, and hopefully nothing blows up.
Are those custom mods or are they legit mods from Bally?
It's a homebrew like game update to the code. So what I read about it was I guess there's like a whole bunch of callouts in the game that are never used, and so it incorporates a lot of those callouts, and it also adds a skill shot. So if you plunge up to that upper playfield and around to there's a like a rollover switch on there. If you can hit that on the plunge, it'll give you a skill shot. So I'm interested to see what they come up with next. But code update for Vector coming soon. I'm really looking forward to that.
All right, cool.
Thank you to the Slam Tilt podcast. I can remember the name of their podcast. Hooking us up with some ROMs.
Oh, that's nice.
Check them out.
Awesome.
Yep.
Bruce and Ron.
All
right, so before we get into the viewer emails and tweets, we're going to do a little PSA. There's some, I was going to say, I won't say the word, but Pinside, of course, is losing their mind, and I think rightfully so. There's some issues with Stern cabinets, and I would say this applies mostly from what I've seen in this thread to the new Aerosmith and Ghostbuster games. Apparently, cabinets are falling apart. I don't know how widespread it is, what percentage it is, but if you go on the thread, you can see the cabinets tearing apart. So artwork is falling apart, which is just unacceptable in my book. I mean, it's a pinball cabinet. How long have you been making pinball cabinets? But shit happens, especially when you go to different. Maybe they went to a different cabinet maker or something.
Maybe.
I don't know. They don't really, as far as I know, they don't publicly respond to it. I know they deal with it and they do damage control. And from what I heard from one of our viewers today, that Stern is working to fix the problem or work with them and make right on it, which they've always done with any game I've ever had. So why I bring this up is that you can do some kind of preemptive maintenance so that if you do have one of the more recent games, Aerosmith or Ghostbusters, what folks have been doing on Pinside is buying I guess there's a cabinet bracket from like a Bally Williams cabinet bracket. You can get that from Pinball Life, I believe. just put that in your games. I mean, why risk it? Why risk it separating? Even if your game looks good, at this point, I would just put it on there.
Yeah.
Because who knows what's going on? Who knows why it's doing that? If it's glue or what? But I wouldn't not risk it because it's a cabinet, and you don't want your games falling apart.
I don't want my games falling apart.
Yeah.
They had in that thread. They had a picture of it. It was a Ghostbusters LE down at Pinball Pete's in Ann Arbor, and it was just like,
You saw that one? Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
God.
it's a LE. Yeah,
like,
it's just a mess.
Oh, it hurt. When
Well,
I saw it.
somebody got an Aerosmith and in the box it was cracked. So it's not like, oh, you're putting the legs on. It's not, oh, you're shaking the game. That's bullshit. These games from 20, 30 years ago have been shook to death.
Yeah.
That's just an issue with what's going on with the cabinet. So take a look at that thread. If you got those new games, it's not. I don't think it's the hardest fix. But I definitely recommend doing that to your game as preventive maintenance. So
You know what that is?
the more you know.
That is the more you know. All right, so let's get into some viewer feedback. Our first message up here is an email we got from Alex in Birmingham, Alabama. He says, with the recent resurgence in pinball and attention at the national level, coupled with the ever-increasing purses to be won at the large tournaments, do you think we'll ever see a day where pinball is broadcast on a major network like ESPN in a similar but more formal format than the streams we currently see online? If not, what does the future of competitive and pinball broadcasting look like on the large scale? What do you think?
I hope so. I mean, this always comes up. This has been thought about, right? Will pinball go to that next level where it is on ESPN in some way, shape, or form? It's not crazy to think that. Mm-hmm. You see what happened to poker back in the mid 2000s. I never thought that poker would be broadcast or people would watch it, but there you go.
Yep.
It's just playing cards. I think what is good for poker is a couple things. One, everybody has access to cards and can play poker, but also then you have tournaments where there's like several million dollars up on the table. So if it's kind of like the cart before or the cart before the horse, right? So what's got to happen? You have to have a tournament maybe that's giving away several $1 million, and that might get attention from ESPN or somebody to broadcast that and cover that, right? Money talks. But how do you even get there? How do you get a sponsor to put up that kind of money when who knows what kind of audience is there? I think in the short term, what could be done is increasing the production values. And there was an article about Papa. Look, Papa does an excellent job. That's just not their focus. So hopefully somebody's working on kind of just taking the production to the next level, making some really slick pinball presentations like you might see in things like League of Legends, right? So it doesn't have to go to ESPN. It can reside on Twitch or YouTube or whatever. But I think that you wanted to see a higher level in quality and production. But that costs money. So where's the money come from? So that's the problem. Do you get the sponsors on board first, or do you increase the quality first to get the attention of the sponsors? Maybe if somebody was just really focused on sponsorship.
Yeah.
I think that's what you need. I don't know if anybody's really doing that right now where they're just spending time and saying, you know what, the goal right now is to just secure a large sponsor so we can take at least production to the next level. And then hopefully in a couple of years, the goal is to get the attention of ESPN.
Yeah. And even if that isn't viable right now, something else could happen where, just to elevate pinball in the public consciousness to the point where people outside of the hobby start paying attention. So it could be a TV show, it could be news stories, anything like that. You're seeing sort of the grassroots efforts happening through IFPA and stuff like the stuff we do. It's like it's small, but the more you do that, the more people start to pay attention, and it becomes a trend, and the more general interest there is. Because we've talked about this where like everybody's played pinball at least once or seen it in a bar or something. So there is a level of familiarity that comes with these machines inherently. But what you get that achievement unlocked when you see the rule sets and understand, like, for me it was watching the Papa streams and having like Bo and Karen's explain what these players were going for while they're playing these games. I'm like, oh man, this is really interesting, because he's explaining it like you're watching like a golf tournament or something like that, shot by shot, play by play, what he should be going for, and it just makes it a really compelling story. So I think if they were to take one tournament and compress it down into like an hour maybe, and cut out all the fluff and show like one story throughout, because nobody's going to watch 8 hours of pinball except for us. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's they need to make it palatable. A lot of sports, when they broadcast them, they're not live. They pre-record them, then they cut them up and make it more easily digestible. So
yeah, you need to have a narrative. Who is this person playing? Why should I care about them? where are they right now? What do they need to do?
Right.
That you need to have that gripping. And when you do turn on streams, and streams that we've done, only the hardcore people are really going to get into it.
Yep.
Right? Even though I think pinball is fascinating, and I think it can totally work. I think it's far more fascinating than poker, right?
Oh, yeah.
Watch the ball go around, lights, sounds, all these machines, but it's got to be compressed. It's got to be presented, right?
Yep.
It doesn't have to be live.
Yeah, look at like what they do with the Olympics. It's on the other side of the world. They take what happens overnight, they make it into something interesting. They tell you the backstory of the people. They make you care about who these people are and what their story
Doing
is.
interviews with them.
Yep.
What's going on? What do you feel?
Setting
right,
the table, and then they put you into the action. This is where they are.
Diagrams like in between play. Here's what they did. Replays.
Yep.
You're taking the viewer along on the journey. You've got them engaged, so you can't let them get bored, because now people are super distracted. There's so many things that can distract you in your life.
Mm-hmm.
You have this moment of downtime. That's it. You've lost them.
Yep. So there's I mean, the sky's really the limit, but there's no money in pinball. It's the problem right now. There's no money, so there's no. We run around with our laptop and we stream tournaments by moving cameras between machines, and because that all the money goes back to the players and the tournaments.
With that said, if somebody wants to pay us money to travel around the country, and we can quit our jobs and broadcast pinball tournaments,
sign me up.
You got it. There you go.
So yeah, that's my take on it. Yeah, he goes on to say ESPN has done other niche things like darts and drone racing. You may remember an article he did on Robert Gagno. Actually, HBO was at at Papa, right?
Yeah,
they were following Robert around.
Yep, I guess that's what was going on.
Yeah,
so something from HBO. So it's getting there. I mean, you see it growing every year. And the nice thing is, I mean, grassroots is a good way to put it, right? Mm-hmm. It's a grassroots effort. What you can do is get your friends, teach people how to play pinball, show them this podcast, show them tutorials that are online, things like that. What's nice about pinball is it just seems to be growing steadily, right? So it's not this blip on the radar. It's not like this fad that's going on. If it keeps on going at this pace, and that's good and that's healthy for pinball, I'd like to see it get to a higher level so more people can learn about this amazing hobby that thankfully I learned about just by downloading Pinball FX years ago.
Yeah,
that's why I'm here today, just because I randomly downloaded a pinball game. Who knows how that can change somebody's hobby or their interest. So
yep,
hopefully it gets to more people. But
you got to have that aha moment for sure.
But one of the other questions was, who do you like to see, or who would you speculate in being in the commentating booth?
Nick Lane.
Oh, totally. Yeah, that guy. He's good.
Yeah. John Madden. He's not still doing commentary.
Is he dead? I don't know. Let's not go there.
All right, you went there. I was just gonna ask if he was still doing it, but you need somebody with like a level of excitement. And actually, I was watching when I was watching Papa and Levy was doing play-by-play. He was hyped.
Awesome. That's what you get. Somebody
fun.
Like that. Yeah.
You need so you need to set it up like a baseball broadcast. Well, I'm taking it back to sports. I'm sorry. Chat room took me there or whatever. You need a play-by-play guy, so like your Steve Daniels that knows all the rules, or your Steve Bowden, Bowen Cairns, people like that, to talk along play-by-play. What's going on? What he should be shooting for? Why is he doing what he's doing? And then you need the hype man or woman to just get everybody excited, set the stage. This is the situation. Here's what the points are going into this round. Here's if this guy wants to win, these are the points he needs, all that sort of stuff. So you need the hype and you need the play-by-play. You need to bring it all together.
And you need to be talking to somebody who might not know what's going on in pinball, right? You can never forget that you can't just make these esoteric terms. You can't just talk to the in crowd. You got to talk to people who might have just tuned in for the first time. Mm-hmm. I see pinball on. What's going on? And you don't want to lose them.
Yep.
By putting jargon.
Yeah, you watch any sports stream, baseball, football, basketball. They're always talking about, they're still talking about the plays, what they're doing on the field, why they're doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
Maybe we do like interviews with the players between rounds. I know Papa tried that for a little while.
It's not easy,
no,
and it's not like they haven't thought of this. It's a challenge to do it. I mean, number one, the Papa folks, their goal is to run a good tournament. Right. Broadcasting or anything is secondary, and it just that's the nature of it right now. Hopefully it can evolve. Maybe there's some problem solvers out there who look at this opportunity and say, I've got the skills, I've got the production skills, I know people with broadcasting skills or commentating skills, and then they take this on.
Yeah.
Because I don't think it's going to come from the Papa folks who are doing this. They're busy running quality tournaments, and that's where their focus should be. You can't do everything.
Yeah, you need to break it out and let the tournament people run their tournaments and let the broadcasters do the broadcast. You don't see head coaches running over and talking on the broadcast in the middle of the game. You know what I
Right.
mean? It's like they're there to run the game, and the broadcasters are there to do the broadcast, and everybody has a level of expertise in something. The way it is right now, it's been amazing to watch broadcast pinball grow to the point where it has, and it wouldn't have been there without the folks from Papa. But I think everybody's just like we do. It's like, what can we do next? It's like, how can we push this further? How can we make it?
Just one step at a time.
Yeah.
Like you want to do everything. You want to be at the top and do everything right now, like perfectly. Okay, well, we'll just start off taking baby steps, and before you know it, you might get there.
Right.
But if you try to do everything at once, it might seem overwhelming and blah blah blah. Anyways,
Good.
let me end this by just saying he says shout out to all the players in the Magic City Pinball League.
Shout out to you guys.
So that was Alex Huffman out in Birmingham, Alabama.
Thanks for the question, Alex.
Next question.
Now we got some Twitter questions. So from our buddy at TurboGrafx7 on Twitter, he says, if you could only own machines from one era, which era would you pick? He says, I'm a sucker for Williams DMDs. So what do you think, Nick?
Look, the games that I own right now are the games that I want to own. And I love what Stern has been putting out in the last, 6, 7, 8 years. I love those games. I think the rules are where they need to be. The length of play is where it needs to be. So that's what I want.
Yep.
Modern Sterns.
I would pick the same thing. But I'm gonna broaden it out and just say modern era, because he says era. It doesn't even have to be one manufacturer. So if I can get modern Stearns, modern Jersey Jack games, I can get highway pinball games. I can get
Maybe a working Lebowski.
a working Lebowski.
Yeah.
All that.
I would take that in a heartbeat.
Those games are all awesome, and
Yeah.
you can get so much gameplay out of them. I will admit that I've been on kind of a Williams 90s kick lately, because of Jackpot. I've been playing that a lot, and it's kind of reignited the flame a little bit for the 90s Williams games. But if I have to pick one, it's going to be current day, because it's awesome.
All right, so the next question, of course, this is a hard-hitting question from the real wobbly chair.
Wobbly.
He plays the slide whistle, or slide flute or whistle, whatever. Slide flute, whistle. Check him out. He's amazing. He says, my dentist sings while working on my teeth. It makes me uncomfortable. What's a polite way to get him to stop? Thanks in advance. I say that's a deal breaker. You get a new dentist.
I say just bring the slide whistle with you and play it when he starts talking.
Jam with him.
Yeah.
Well, he's getting his teeth worked on, so that's
I don't
not an
know.
option.
Or give the slide whistle over and let him play the slide whistle instead.
All right.
Shout out to Boongo Pinball.
Let us know
Thanks
how
for
that
the
works
resub.
out for you. We're enthralled and engaged.
We are, yes. Next question from Kaiser18, a local guy in our team league. He says, does at Nick Lane Buffalo have all of the high scores on Jay's GoldenEye yet?
Pretty much. I've got all the top scores, and he's just totally defeated right now. So mission accomplished.
You went over there to play for the Bro Show and just wiped out all his scores.
Oh, yeah.
It was fantastic. He says, but for real, I want to know your favorite rule set. Not necessarily your favorite game, but your favorite rule set. Some whatever difference.
So my favorite rule set, I guess that comes back to, well, what game has the best rule set? But I'm going to answer this differently. I'm going to talk about my favorite rule mechanic, and my favorite rule mechanic is kind of a push your luck mechanic, which you see in Crank It Up. Metallica, you see it in the Cannon in AC/DC, where you're building the jackpot pot. You see it in what's another game where you push your luck?
Jackpot.
Jackpot has it as well. Oh, you see it in the new Aerosmith, where you can lock. You can cancel out multi-ball and try to lock more balls for multi-ball, thereby increasing the jackpot. But I really like that kind of risk reward, push your luck mech, where you're giving the player an option to say, okay, I can cash out now, or I can try to keep on going a little bit more. And I think that's super addicting. And look at the games that are doing it are quite popular, at least the modern ones right now. So I don't know. That's the way I would answer that question.
I gave some thought to this today, and I think I'm going to go with Hobbit. It's not necessarily my favorite playfield layout, but what they were able to do with that game from a rules perspective is just amazing. And it's just so ingenious the way he used every element on that playfield for something unique and different. And as soon as when somebody explained the Arkenstone things to me, I'm like, oh man, this is great, because now I can go for this, and then I can go for spinners, or I can go for modes, or whatever, and it's like I can do all these things, and it makes it achievable to get to the mini wizard modes, but there's still a ton to do in that game. So I think from a rules perspective, The Hobbit is pretty great.
Cool. All right.
All right, next question from Triton 1000. He says, on Walking Dead, how does the Woodbury shot work? You can select these different amounts, but I have no idea how to get them.
It's hard for me to describe, necessarily about showing it. But once you're in the Woodbury shot, one of the flippers is used to highlight what the reward is, and the other one kind of scroll where the reward is on there. So think about this. Let's go from left and right. On the left shot, you have the two rollovers. So the far left shot on the DMD will represent the first rollover, then the second rollover, and then you have the in lanes, right? Mm-hmm. So there's 4 possible selections or shots. What I usually do, I always pick the reward all the way to the right. Because usually on a full plunge on most games, it will go cleanly into the far in lane on top. Does that make sense, the far right one?
Yeah, so it goes all the way around over those 2 rollovers, past the first lane, into the second lane. That's the same thing I do.
So if you highlight the top award when you're selecting the Woodbury shot, and it goes in that one, you get that. If you miss that one or anything else, you don't get it.
Right.
So you're basically choosing what to get. Now, if there's anything more to that, please let me know, chat, because I wouldn't be surprised if there's some more ingenuity behind that. I know that you can increase the value of those awards by, first of all, collecting it multiple times, but also I think the more you hit the fish head shot, or not the fish tank, the fish tank shot, you will build better rewards to access. It's kind of interesting. It doesn't happen too often because it's kind of difficult to do that, and it's not the best strategy necessarily to go for, but it's something to be aware of.
Yeah, so typically I'll put whatever is the best of all the options at the top of the DMD, and then plunge for the far right of the lanes at the top, and it'll hook you up most of the time. Sometimes and don't forget you can use the button to plunge on that, and sometimes that'll be more consistent than using the plunger. So if you hit the button,
really?
And
I never thought of that.
You find it going to the same place.
Oh, that's true. That makes sense.
Because you're using something mechanical rather than something physical. Well, they're
there you
both
go.
physical.
I learned something new.
Yeah. Try hit the button, see where it ends up, and then set your shot up there.
All right. So next question is from the Geeky Husband. What is your best worst tournament beat
down? Like
beat.
how bad have you gotten beaten in a tournament? How bad have you beaten someone else?
Okay, he writes, I put 100 million on ball, won in Aerosmith. Literally, next player got 172. I wouldn't say that's a bad beatdown or anything. I think you played well, and somebody played better. So I feel like in that situation, you should feel good about your play, and you just somebody just played better, right? That's it. I think the most frustrating is when I feel like I'm playing in such a way that it's like, is this your first time playing pinball? That's what's frustrating.
We've all been there.
I think that's the beatdown. I don't have a specific example or call out people or whatever, but it's just when I'm beating myself, that's the worst, and it sort of kind of spirals out of control.
I have a worse beatdown. It's not one of mine though. But
did you lose to Jay?
No.
Okay.
But Jay lost at Pinburg by 10 points on Monster Bash.
Shit.
10 points.
He lost by 10 points. That's a Jay thing. There's nothing more Jay than losing by 10 points at Pinburg on Monster Bash.
That's amazing.
It's not even like an EM where it's like awarding like 10 points. No, that's a slingshot.
It's like a third of a slingshot or something. So that's Jay. I do have one moment when I'm like, everything came together. It was last year at Pinburg, and I was down on Congo going into ball 3, and I just destroyed the game and got like 1.8 billion and got to the wizard mode and came back and just, it was like, they were like, holy shit. They were like, you were up there forever. And I was like, that's why you play pinball, for the moments like that. It's like, and I got to put my initials on a game during Pinburg. It was great. So that one stands out for me.
Okay. Awesome. Next.
Tiguano, he says, when did you start playing pinball? So this is something that we've answered a few times, and if you go back to our very first podcast, we kind of give the intro of like who we are and how we got into it. But the Cliff's Notes version is I started playing when I was a kid. Used to go to the arcades all the time. My dad notoriously skipped school and went to play pinball all the time in the student union when he was in college. So it must be inherent in what I do and in my bloodline. But that's kind of how I got started going to arcades. In the 90s, it's like I started playing more video games, but pinball was always around. And when Addams Family came out, it really stuck with me. So
I got hooked in the fall of 2010. When I was mentioning earlier in this podcast, I downloaded randomly on Xbox the Pinball FX, and I learned that pinball had rules, and I just got totally hooked on it. And then I moved to Buffalo a few months later and bought Stern Iron Man, and the rest is history. A cooler backstory, though, is that I remember when I was in 5th grade, I went over to my grandmother's house. My dad took me down, and my brothers, we went down to the basement, and he's like, you got to see this. And she had like a 1957 pinball machine in there. It was like a Williams Kings.
Awesome.
And I had no idea, like, just that's the first time I ever saw a pinball machine in a house. And it must have left, like, such an imprint in my mind that, well.
Someday I will have one.
Yeah.
And now you have 9 or whatever.
So that was pretty cool. But, yeah, I only started playing, seriously and aggressively, starting in, like, 2011. Like, I went to – my first tournament was Pinburg 2011.
Nice.
So that's my story.
There you go. Wildcat wants to know, who would win in a no-holds-barred cage match? Trudeau, Lawler, or J-Pop? It's got to be Trudeau. Trudeau made WWE. He's got to win in a cage match, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all I got.
There you go.
Okay.
Joe Shorts, where does the white go when the snow melts?
Oh, my God, guys. I didn't know you were going to ask such hard questions. I would have prepared.
That's your deep thoughts with Jack Handy question. You guys can just contemplate that one.
Let's go to the review. Let's go to the review. Well, thankfully, you ask for questions, you get questions.
You get questions, see, and then we got to answer them. So,
and we do. We're good like that.
if you answer a question,
all right. So
almost always it's going to
this first review is let's say they're sponsored by our Patreon folks, and I didn't even give the website. So if you go to patreon.com/Buffalo Pinball, you can get in on this next month. We appreciate the support. It helps us keep the lights on, helps us travel and all that good stuff. But Kevin just reminded me, let's give a shout out to our other sponsors. So very quickly, guys, Comet Pinball, maker of quality LEDs and a pretty sweet shirt. I'm really pushing that shirt they got. It looks good. It's a sweet blue color, and it's the softest shirt you'll ever wear. Check it out. Speaking of soft, awesome shirts, Double Danger Pinball. They make pinball swag, pinball shirts. If you're going to go to a pinball tournament, how will people know you like pinball unless you've got a pinball shirt on? Think about that one for a moment. They got a coupon code of Buffalo. You type that in, and you get 15% off.
That's a deal.
It's practically free at that point.
Go get your free shirt from Double Danger. Tell them Buffalo Pinball sent you.
We already hyped up Pinball Life for pinball parts. Did you just buy a brand new stern? Well, you better head over to pinballlife.com and buy some brackets from Bally Williams.
Is your cabinet disintegrating?
Yeah. Slap them in that new game. Build your own pinball machine. Pinballlife.com. And then Jersey Jack, maker of Hobbit, Wizard of Oz, and the new Dialed In, which We're in the Street is a couple of weeks away. We might have one temporarily. Yeah. I don't know what's going on, but we might be streaming Dialed In really soon.
Yeah, buddy.
Community Beer Works, they get us drunk on our streams. Thank you, Community Beer Works. I thought my problem was over with, but then you stepped in my life. But if you guys are in Buffalo, I highly recommend checking out Community Beer Works. Their beer's delicious. Not just saying that. Their beer's delicious, and in their name, they care about the community. They just do so many good things. I was just down at one of their events this past weekend volunteering for them, so check them out. Titan Pinball, they make silicone rings for your pinball machines. It's a great thing if you need to replace the aging rubber on your pinball machines, or you just want to make it look better. They've got so many different colors to use for replacing those old rings, and you can replace them with silicone. They last longer, look better. They've got a coupon code of Buffalo as well, and that's 10% off.
10%.
Pinball Arcade, maker of virtual recreations of real pinball machines. That's gotten a lot of people into pinball. Mm-hmm. The cool thing about Pinball Arcade is that they have so many games on there right now that if you want to learn a game or just practice your skills, that's the way to do it. And they've just improved their physics from when I was playing years ago to doing things like drop catches and live catches and all that good stuff. So they love pinball, and it shows. And then lastly, Mr. Dan Burfield out in Pittsburgh, PA. He is Tilt Cycle, tiltcycle.com. He makes upcycled pinball art. So his big, I would say the big items that I really love, starting with the simple thing, which is a night light, like a pop bumper cap. You can get that all the way up to putting an actual pinball playfield on your wall, on your game room, and they will light up and scroll different light configurations. It looks awesome. Everybody who's seen my game room gives me compliments on that. He's got a coupon code, 20% with Buffalo. Just type in Buffalo, 20% off.
He's got the Grand Champ score in coupon codes.
He does. All right, guys.
Thanks to all you guys.
They make the podcast possible, and they help us keep up to date with all the equipment that we need. So thank you, guys.
All right, it's review time. We're gonna start off with WrestleMania. If our league members were here, they'd be singing the John Cena theme song because it's a go-to game.
That's for Jeff Worth. He was doing it yesterday. I just mentioned WWE, and I got a little treat.
A little John Cena. But yeah, so this came out.
What's the scale, by the way? What is our rating scale? Do you want to wait till the end? Or do you want to tease people?
We can show the let's see, where's my website slide here. So we got to go bam, and then it's down here. There's Ed Robertson. We don't want to see him. So our review score is From 0 to 2 is a burn it. From 3 to 5 is an expensive nightlight. From 6 to 8 is a solid game. And if we give it a 9 or 10, you should just go out and, spend your whole life savings and buy a pinball machine.
And Kevin, you got this on our website. You can also see the past games that we reviewed. We've made it easier to find reviews of the games we have done on our YouTube channel.
Thank you, Geeky Husband.
Thanks to Geeky Husband, who's a viewer. You just go to YouTube, search Buffalo Pinball, and we have a review section, so you can just check them out that way. And the lowest game we've ever reviewed, nothing terribly bad. Kevin gave Game of Thrones 6.5, and I gave it 7.5. We've not had anything that's been really bad.
Yeah.
I mean, everything's been a solid game.
Yep.
And then our highest right now is Walking Dead. I gave it a 9.5.
Yep.
So anyways,
great game.
We like to go through basically categories until we get to the final rating. So starting off with art, Kevin, talk about the art on this game.
Well, let's take a look at it for those who are watching. I mean, it's a game with a bunch of pictures of wrestlers on it.
Yeah.
Kind of how you would expect.
If you want shirtless dudes, some of them look like they're in diapers, then that's the game for you.
There's a few scantily clad ladies in there too, if that's your thing. But it's wrestlers. It's a wrestling game. There's wrestlers on it. It doesn't have hand drawn art like Royal Rumble from the '90s. They had hand drawn art. This has actual photos of wrestlers. So,
and this is the pro mainly that we're talking about. There is an LE. Differences in art packages. The pro has like contemporary wrestlers, and the LE has like the legends of wrestling.
Yep.
So you'll get your like Hulk Hogan and that kind of good stuff. No Macho Man though.
No. So if you're
unfortunate.
If you're an '80s kid, then you'll like the LE. It's got Hulk Hogan all over it and all that stuff. So good times. But the art is that's the art.
So Life Force, I just want to address this question because it's important. Did you ban Taylor from the show after he gave Walking Dead a 6.5? I feel it's punishment enough that Taylor thinks that Walking Dead is a 6.5, and that's missing from his life. I'm sorry, Taylor.
Sorry. I'm gonna have to give him a beatdown in the ring again at Pinburg. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, there are some ladies on the slingshots, as Nick pointed out in chat.
Yep.
All right, so art is functional. Art is fine. There's no praise, but there's no condemnation. It gets the job done. I think that's what I say about a lot of games that are just sort of there, right?
Right. There's the playfield if you're looking.
I like the color scheme.
Yeah.
I like the blues and purples. It looks all right.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah. No one's saying check out this art on this game.
Yeah.
But whatever.
Yeah. You're not buying this game for the art.
Okay. The sound, Kevin. It's got announcers.
It does. It's got some of the real announcers from wrestling. When you hit the start button, you got Vince McMahon yelling "Welcome to WrestleMania" on it. So yeah, it's good. It's a good sound package. It's got all the music, the entry music from the wrestlers. It's basically what you would expect for this game. They got the assets that you would want for a game like this.
It draws you in. They do pretty good, like kind of the play-by-play or what's going on, or like he's getting he's powering up or blah blah blah. And I don't know. It's there. I don't listen. This is not a theme that I'm into even remotely, but it seems like if you are, you should be pretty happy with it.
Yeah, exactly. If you're into wrestling, you're gonna like what they did with the sound effects. I was into wrestling in the 90s with like Stone Cold Steve Austin and all those guys. So I can understand the appeal of this theme. It's not something I'm into anymore, but it's cool. Like
they have their theme music too when you pick the wrestlers, so that's cool. And the cool thing is with the Legends ones, they have like Hulk Hogan's theme, right?
Real American. Stuff.
Yeah, so I get a kick out of that.
That's great.
That's nice.
Yeah, if I were to own either one of the, I don't know. There are we won't rush to it, but
yeah, I know what you're gonna say.
Yeah. So toys.
They're really the main toy, if you will, is the ring up top, which is a cool concept. This is sort of like the best feature and the worst feature of the game at the same time. As much of a toy it is, it's just you're controlling the slingshots up there when it's in the ring. I like how it looks visually on the game. I mean, it looks so theme appropriate. It's not even funny. I mean, it makes far more sense than the WWF game from the 90s, right?
Yeah.
So you look at this, you're like, that's the ring. Okay, get the ball in the ring. It's very obvious, and it's something different. My problem, though, well, here's the thing. When this game first came out, a lot of people dismissed it because the ball spent way too much time in the ring. And what that means is that you're kind of playing this weird version of pinball where you're controlling slingshots to manipulate the ball. You're not even using the flippers. I mean, you can keep it in the ring for far too long and just kind of nickel and dime points. And there's also a saucer in the ring, which you got to get in the saucer to pin it. But it bounces all over the rubbers. It's not an easy thing to do, whereas like flippers, you can really control the ball. But that hole up there, that scoop up there in that toy, which is the ring, that's the game. I mean, to progress in the game, you've got to pin. So you can be a great pinball player, but if for whatever reason you're just struggling with that toy and the slingshot mechanism, then it's not going to give you a good feeling about the game.
What I found about it is like we've played it a lot. We have it on location here, and it gets picked a lot in our team league, and I have fun playing it. But those slingshots on the upper playfield there's almost no skill to it. I feel like. You can sort of kind of get a feel for it, but there's no like if I hit it on the end of the flipper at this point, it's going to go where I want it to.
Yeah.
It's like,
it really raises the luck factor almost. There is little skill, but I mean, it's almost like 60-40 and like 40% skill territory.
Yeah, you can get better at it, but it's still pretty luck of the draw out there.
Which would be fine, but when that is, and we're sort of getting into rules, but when that's like the main focal point of the game, then it becomes a problem. And if you think about Twilight Zone has the power, and you're using magnets, and you're trying to get it through the hole on top. But that's not the game. Like, you can play the game without ever going there necessarily in many ways. Like, It's not a big deal. It's not the main focus. It's not always there.
Yep.
But here's a game where you're spending a lot of time there. So, sort of ambivalent with that.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if people might like it, but I can see why somebody absolutely detests that. Trying to get the ball into the hole up there.
On the Pro, there's really not much else for toys. On the LE, there is a spinning disc in the ring that randomizes it a little more, makes it so you can't stay up there quite as long, which
I hate that.
It's like, in one way it's good in that you don't spend as much time in the ring, and the other way it's like, if you want to get good points on this game, you have to pin people, and if it makes it even harder to do that,
it's even harder. It takes away it's like 10% skill at that point with that spinning disc. It's just, I don't know what they were thinking with it. I know it's like maybe simulating this chaos of wrestling, but in terms of functionality and the rules and playing the game and playing pinball, I don't know. It's like the ball's not even touching the flipper at that point. Here's one thing. I know if you just miss this game early on because the ball was going up to the ring, well, they fixed that in the rules.
Yeah.
So when you're not supposed to, you're supposed to be in the ring during a match. So you're playing matches. After you defeat an opponent, you're trying to start the next match, and that's done by hitting the drop targets down twice. Now, what used to happen when the game first came out, if you hit those ramps, which are silky smooth, I love those ramps.
Yep.
When you hit those ramps, you'll go back in the ring. That was the old rules. New rules, it just circles around and comes back down. So you really can't get into the ring when there's not a match. So that's great. Huge help. They've made that game so much better. So again, if you've only played it early on and it left a bad taste in your mouth, I understand, but go back and give it a shot, because they've at least fixed probably the biggest complaint with that game. And we'll get into the rules in probably a matter of seconds. But
one other toy I want to point out on the LE versus the Pro is on the ramp on the left. Let me going back on the so there's spoiler alert. There's two cross ramps that come down from the ring, and the one on the left, when it's coming down to the inlane, there's like a little flipper arm thing,
the wham arm,
where you can like knock it off the habit trail, I guess, so you could hit it into the drop targets to try and start your next match.
I guess it doesn't seem like it necessarily needs to be there.
Yeah.
Todd McCulloch, when I was over at his place, said that originally that was supposed to be a chair, which I find hilarious. But like this is even more hilarious. WWE thought it was like too violent or didn't want that. It's like, dude, are you kidding me?
It happens like every night on a wrestling show.
Oh my God, your moral compass. That's adorable.
They pick up the stairs and throw them at each other and crap.
Okay.
It's like, all right, whatever.
All right.
It's a shame that there wasn't. This game wasn't popular enough for anyone to manufacture that mod, because that's like if you own an LE, it should be a chair, not the way.
No doubt, yeah.
All right, so DMD and lighting. What do you think?
It's fine. I mean, like, it's fine. It's nothing to write home about. But one thing is cool is that they have a mod you can get. I think it was supposed to be in the game originally, but it shipped without it. But you can get this like wire harness. So when the ball is in the ring, it kills the lights on the rest of the playfield pretty much. So just the ring is highlighted. Now, when we play on location, it's lit up too much, but I can imagine that's a really cool effect, and I like that. So another thing, if you guys have this game on location, if you own it, you should be able to get that wire harness from Stern by just calling them, and they'll send that to you.
Yep, they'll be like,
worth putting in.
You're one of the 10 people that bought WrestleMania. Okay, we'll send it to you.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not the animations of the animations, nothing to write home about.
It's not like digitized graphics. It's hand drawn dots. The lighting is what it is. It's got there's some cool like Easter eggs in the art, like the referee is John Trudeau.
Yeah, that's cool.
There's some neat stuff in it like that. But otherwise, it gets the job done. Gameplay. So this is where it comes down to it.
I think we talked about, I mean, the early problem was spending too much time in the ring, and you're not playing pinball in many ways. When I consider playing pinball, hitting the ball with flippers, right?
Yep.
Not slingshots. It's gotten better. It's a fast game. It's definitely the one we have is fast and can be brutal, which makes it pretty exciting. Now that we're spending less time in the ring, I think that's a lot of fun. Like I said before, I love hitting the ramps. It's a very smooth, satisfying, rewarding shot. It's got a nice little turnaround on the playfield too.
Under the
it's got some dangerous drop targets that you got to hit to progress in there, and it's got the Trudeau flipper gap. So it's a challenging game. The shots actually feel good. The tag team shot on the left, I like that a lot. Mm-hmm. It's a design that it's a unique design, which I like that as well. I like that Trudeau takes chances. You don't. There's a risk when you take a chance in a game, but it's also very refreshing and interesting. And I really enjoyed it when it came out because it was something new. Yeah,
and one of the big differences that on this game from a lot of modern games, and they've kind of toned this down in the code updates, but it's very bonus heavy. So it's as you work through and pin folks in the matches, it doesn't necessarily award it to you right away. It adds to the bonus you collect at the end, and it's got this awesome like countdown on the bonus count.
That presentation's really good.
Yeah, I really like that.
With the sound and lights. Yeah,
but otherwise, what Nick said, I was already thinking. Like I like Trudeau because he takes chances. He does different things on his games. He's not afraid to throw a ring in the middle of a wrestling game. It's like that's what you should do. So let's try it.
Yeah.
Sometimes you hit, sometimes you miss. I think this one kind of falls somewhere in the middle as far as a playfield layout.
Okay. So rules. So the game suffered from rules early on, being in the ring too long. I think what happened, if I understand correctly, is Lyman then jumped in and kind of worked on the rules a bit, even though it's not a Lyman game.
Yeah.
And one of the things that have been added when they did a major update is you can, when you select your wrestler, it doesn't just change his music, but he has got stats, so it affects maybe pin values are worth plus 50% or things like that. So now when you select your wrestler, you're really changing your strategy in the game. And to me, that's really interesting. I love that. I love the tag team multi-ball. That's one of my favorite rules. When you start that up, first of all, you can't be in a match. You've got to do it when you're not in a match. But the jackpot is trying to get it into the scoop. So it's kind of chaotic. You got balls all over the place. Mm-hmm. You're fighting them with the flippers. They're up in the ring, so you're trying to maneuver the slingshots up there and then getting in there for a jackpot. And that's actually a really exciting mode, and it's really fun as well.
Yeah, I'll give us a plug for this one. Like we played this on the Bro Show, and Nick just destroyed the tag team multi-ball. So if you want to,
can't even remotely do that again.
No. So if there's one thing about the rules, I think there's still some imbalance there when you can set something up like that just destroys the game. And
I was getting 100 million jackpots on that tag team multi-ball, which doesn't seem right because that's something that you can get to tag team multi-ball really early on, like ball one. It's not like you're at some kind of mini wizard mode or anything like that. It's just a multi-ball.
Yeah.
Now, it's not easy because I've got almost 1 billion on that game. No one's come close.
Yeah.
And I can't do it again, but it's on video, and you can check it out on our YouTube channel.
It was pretty great.
Pretty sick.
It's probably the most hyped up moment when we were just yes, keep getting those jackpots.
Everything was just lining up. The stars aligned that day, man.
It was great.
I don't know.
So if you want to see a really good game of WrestleMania, there you go. So what are your thoughts as far as lastability?
We've had this game on location now, I think, for just about 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I never mind playing it. I don't necessarily go on my way to play it, but it's interesting to me because you've got the choice of different wrestlers now with the rules. it's the kind of game that I'd want to explore and try different strategies with. You know, it's not necessarily a one-trick pony. It's not easy. It's definitely challenging to kind of progress through the game. I've not even come close. So I don't have it in my own home collection. I don't know how it would hold up, but it definitely has. It still has captured my interest 2 years later. And I think there's a lot more going in on that game than many people think and might write off because of the theme or the early code.
I agree. It's a game I have fun playing. It's like every time I play it, it's like I feel like I'm learning something a little different or new about it. The bulk of the series, come on, buddy.
Yeah.
It's a fun, interesting, different game. So every time I step up to it, it's like, okay, let's go. Let's see what we can do on WrestleMania this time. And I feel like maybe the wizard mode may be a little too impossible to reach.
Probably. I wouldn't be surprised. It's not even a thought.
Yeah, that's what I think Tommy from this Flippin' Podcast has one or had one, and he had to like take the glass off to make it happen. And so I don't know if you're playing to try to get to the wizard mode, maybe it's not a great game to own, but as far as having one on location, playing it competitively, I have a good time. So I think it's got some lastability to it.
Okay, so let's go for our final rating for this game. Kev, what do you think?
I'm gonna go ahead and give it a 7.5. I think it's a solid game. Not a run out and buy, but if the price were right on this game, I would buy it.
I'm right with you. I mean, 7.5. I think that says a lot. It's not a theme that I can get into at all, but it's a interesting game. It's unique. It's got what appears to be depth. It's got challenge to it. And hey, if the price was right, I'd be tempted to pick one up as well. I think I really want to spend more time on this game. It's been on location for 2 years, and I still feel pretty good about it. Mm-hmm. Again, not run out and buy. If I never had it in my collection, I think I'll move on with life and live. But I think you guys should definitely check it out. If you haven't played it, spend some time with it, and if you've played it and dismiss it, check it out again. You might be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah. I just, I wish it was a little more popular because then there probably would have been one more code update for it to kind of balance out some of those last minute things.
I think it probably needs that. And, if I did have it in the home environment, I might get to the point I might have played it so much where I can just, the flaws are just too, are too numerous and too much, and it just bothers me to the point where I would drop the rating. So I think 7.5 is fair for the amount of time we've put on, but, who knows? Maybe one day we'll get one and we can kind of really dive deep into it. You never know.
We'll see. All right, so that is WrestleMania. So moving on to number 2 of 2 reviews for you tonight, we're going to talk about Aerosmith.
This is the one that people want this, and a lot of people have been curious about Aerosmith. Happy to review it. Spent at least more than a month, maybe a month and a half. It's been on location for us.
Yep.
We just did a bro show last Thursday. That's on our channel. So, and I was down at this place called Riverworks in Buffalo. They have one on location. It's like big beer place, and I was playing probably for like 2 hours yesterday. So
that's awesome.
I don't know.
You're ready to go. You're going to lead the charge on this one. You've played this a lot more.
I don't know all the ins and outs, but I know enough. Let me just preface this by saying that when Aerosmith was announced, I don't think too many people were stoked for the theme. I don't remember seeing any. I've never willingly put on an Aerosmith CD. I've never, selected to queue up their songs, or I just don't care. Like, I don't have anything against them. It just doesn't do anything for me, right?
Right.
But when I heard that Borg was designing it, that piqued my interest. And when Dirty Donnie was doing the art, again, sounded good. When you saw the game and when the pictures were released, here's what's going on. It looks like a hybrid between Metallica and Kiss, and it almost is the exact same layout as Kiss. So the question before playing this, in at least my mind and probably everybody's mind, is this just a copy and paste effort? Is this just a lazy, let's just copy Kiss pretty much, slap some Dirty Donnie and just make a couple bucks and move on? Or is this Borg's, let's call it game number 3, right? Because Metallica and then Kiss and now Aerosmith. Is this his best one? Is this him working up to, perfecting basically both of those games? Let's talk about that.
Yeah, and you could hear, like, we've talked about first impressions on this game when it was first announced, and I was just like, oh my god, they got the same voices, and it's just like we took all the things that people like from the other games and slapped them on a new game. But yeah, it's it's turned I've changed my mind a little bit as we've gone here. So let's get into it.
Unless this way, Bulk of the Series says, can you turn the music off on Aerosmith? Sure, you can turn the sound down, or you can change the music with the
Pinball browser.
Pinball browser, and you can do that in the newer games too, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay, so there you go. You can put your own custom soundtrack in if it bothers you that much.
You put Metallica on Aerosmith if you want to.
Yeah.
So let's get into it. Let's talk about art. Let's take a look at some of the pictures here for the folks that are watching.
I love the art, man. It looks great.
Yeah,
it looks so good.
Yeah.
It's better than Metallica in my book.
It is gorgeous. So what we're looking at right now is the Pro cabinet. It's got kind of a blue theme to it, and honestly, I think it's my favorite of the three. I haven't seen the other two in person yet, but from photos, I like the blue feel. But the premium's got a little more purple to it. Still got the black trim, and but the LE has even more purple look to it, and it's got the purple armor and stuff like that. Playfield, let's see. I know we got a full screen shot of the playfield here. So this thing is just packed with artwork. It's so awesome.
It's
to
beautiful.
look at. And super colorful. It's like everything I would want in pinball art. It's just, it looks great.
I'm gonna say it right now. It's got to be Stern's best artwork that they've put out in a modern DMD game.
Yep. I mean, I love the look of Ghostbusters, but even this makes the Ghostbusters playfield look barren in comparison.
But it's not like too like overwhelming. You know, It doesn't take away from the game. It's easy to see the inserts. It's easy to see what to do. Mm-hmm. You know, it could be the kind of scenario where they threw just so much art in there that I guess maybe it's confusing to the player. But for whatever reason, it works.
Yeah, I was a little concerned when I first saw it. It's like, is it going to be so busy that it's going to make it difficult to see what where the ball is, or is it going to be too distracting? But it's really not after playing it on Thursday a lot. It's a gorgeous game.
All right, so we both love the art and the sound in the game.
It's Aerosmith.
It's Aerosmith. Yeah, it's Aerosmith, and then they have Jackie, who's basically Sparky, same voice. Mm-hmm. I mean, same guy, but the voice might as well be Sparky.
It's kind of annoying.
You change the pitch.
Yeah, it's like, come on, really? It's like, you got Brendan Small. He's from Adult Swim on Cartoon Network, which I love. I love some of his work. I think he's the one that did like home movies and stuff. That's a great show, one of my all-time favorites. But it's like, yeah, he was great as Sparky. We don't need almost the exact same voice on this. That's kind of a ding to the audio package. The other thing, as I think about it now, is like, as we were playing it, the call-outs did not stand out at all to me. Like, I don't remember a single call-out from that game.
They're not memorable. I know he's like, Jackie's telling you what to do, like shoot the scoop for an extra ball and things like that. It could probably use more.
Yeah, like
it's not standing out, right? I can't think of too much.
It doesn't have, like in Metallica, you got James telling you to, like, fuel and all that stuff, and Jack F and Pot and stuff. It's got those kind of like awesome call outs, and maybe that's coming in a code update. I don't know if they recorded audio with the band members or not.
See, here's the thing too. How do you not compare this to Metallica, right?
Right.
I mean, how do you not do that? So Metallica they have Sparky. He's saying stuff, but the Snake is also saying things as well. Mm-hmm. And then you have the band members, and James Hetfield does an amazing job with his call out. He's a vocalist, so right, no surprise there. I'm surprised that we don't have any call-outs from Aerosmith. Mm-hmm. And you got to figure they can do some good ones as well. So it just feels a little bit, when you play Metallica and then you play this game. Now, listen, it doesn't change my opinion that much about the game, but it would probably be nice to have, it's just a small touch, right?
A little polish.
A little bit more.
Yeah.
Kiss had call-outs. Now, maybe they shouldn't, because the whole come down there and see you is a little annoying, but it's still a touch, right? It still says this is the band, and you really feel like they're on board and they're part of it.
Yeah, if you're that into a band that you're going to buy their pinball machine, you want to have them in there, and it's kind of immortalizing these guys that you really enjoy and find their music entertaining. So
again, not necessary, but it's hard not to. You got to bring it up, right? Because the other two games have that in there.
At least get Steve Ritchie in there telling you suck or something, I know this isn't his game, but you think of AC/DC. I don't think AC/DC had band members in it, did it? But it's got Steve Ritchie doing like the narrator.
No, it didn't, and it's not like it's a requirement. I think just because the last two, you sort of get used to that, right? So I mean, Steven Tyler, I'm sure, can do some great call outs, right? He's got it.
It needs like the voice of God overall, like narrator kind of person telling you what to do.
I mean, the Jackie is that role, but it's not as effective as other call-outs could be, for sure. But you know what? The sound in the game overall is good, and they went with the classic Aerosmith, which, thank God. I think the song choices are really good this is from a non-fan's perspective, right? It's not the
Yeah.
cheesy like 90s ballads or any of that nonsense.
It's not the songs that Jay likes.
It's got songs with saxophones in them,
It
so
does,
I'm
yeah.
happy that meets my criteria. It's the return of the saxophone since about 20 years
Yep.
with Jackpot.
Yep.
So
And the sound quality on the new Stern games is perfect for music games. This is the first one on the Spike system, and it just sounds awesome.
it sounds so good, man.
So good. Neil had a subwoofer hooked up to his. And it was
Neil
just
was the guy who he streamed from. They
Yeah.
don't know. Come on.
I know.
Context, Kevin.
You're my Ron tonight.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you watch the Bro Show, the host was Neil, and we played his. And with a subwoofer hooked up, these new Stern games sound awesome.
So yeah, all good things pretty much about the sound. Just
Yep.
a little nitpicking, but come on, we're happy with it.
For sure.
All right, toys. So the main toy,
It's awesome.
really the only toy, but
I love the toy in this game.
it's the Jack in the Box. So Jackie has this toy chest box that what he does is when you hit the ball into the lock shot, he'll open the chest up, all right, and then the ball flies through the air and goes into the box, which is fucking amazing.
I love it. I love this toy. It's just so cool. And so when you lock, you can lock it up to 3 balls to start a multi-ball, and then it gives you the option to continue locking balls up to 6. And then if however many you decide to go with, you can either cancel out by hitting the button on the lock bar, or you can hit the flipper buttons to cancel. And then, or if you just leave it, you'll go into multi-ball. When you go into multi-ball, boom, out come all the balls. They come dumping out. Like it's kind of like it's like a mashup of the basketball from NBA and the arc from Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
I'll mash it up into this one awesome toy.
This is one of Stern's best toys. I like the fact too, like when the multi-ball starts, the light shows great in the presentation, and Jackie's like really shaking.
Yeah.
Much better than like just a Sparky had, like the whole like
Yeah.
chest shakes.
It's like boom.
It's an awesome start. Like
Yeah.
they nailed it. So in chat they're saying, isn't the elevator a toy? Well, in the Pro, not really, man. It's a molded. The elevator in the Pros is like a little molded elevator, right? And you shoot it in there, and it kind of shoots it up through the scoop, but you can't even really see much of the effect. It's hardly. If we're calling that a toy, then the spinner's a toy. You know what I mean? Like it's barely.
Yeah.
I don't know. On the premium, there's an upper playfield, and again, I guess the ball shoots up and just comes out of the molded elevator. But again, that's not a toy in my book. I guess you can debate that all day. Speaking of the premium main difference, other than obviously more lighting effects, which nowadays the Stern Pros, the lighting's so good it doesn't really matter that much, has an upper playfield. It doesn't always go up there. It's basically certain moments of the game, which is kind of nice, so you're not just spending eternity and slowing down the game on the upper playfield. You kind of hit it up there with the elevator shot. It kicks it up, and you kind of trap it and then back it into backhand a bunch of targets, and I think right now it starts like double scoring. I played it at Papa, and I was like, it's fun. It's like sweet. It's not a bad thing. I don't think anybody's going to get upset about the upper playfield. It's fun. It's not, when you think about the price difference between a Pro and a Premium, you're talking about $1,800. It's not at $1,800 I need to get it.
Yeah.
And that's really the main difference between the two. Mm-hmm. So that's Pro and Premium, but
yeah, I haven't played the premium yet, so it's interesting to hear your thoughts on it.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
Too.
It's like everybody said, it's more fun than it initially looks. It doesn't detract from the game. You don't spend too long up there, and you're up there. It's kind of it's okay. It's nice to have it in there. It's not like an afterthought, but it's not needed.
Right.
If you've got a premium or LE coming, then you're gonna be happy with it. But if you're like, should I spend $1,800 extra? Is the value there? Is it that worth it? Is that an $1,800 feature? Then in my opinion, no. Save your money.
Yeah, to me, this feels more like Borg designed the game, and then they're like, okay, we need something to differentiate it on the premium and the LE, so now we got the upper playfield, rather than like it was a feature in the game and then they took it out. It kind of feels more like an add-on than a takeaway. It doesn't feel like it was like built in as one of the main features of the game. Like on Ghostbusters, they had to totally redesign that ramp because he designed that ramp to go into the playfield and everything. And they're like, well, now what are we going to do for the Pro? Well, we need to like shoot it up the ramp and make it work backwards, and that kind of works. And it ended up being okay, but yeah, this kind of feels the other way to me. Yeah. I could be totally wrong.
I didn't get that impression.
No.
I know what you're saying. I didn't get the impression that he's like, oh, I've got the Pro. Well, now we need to make a premium. Let's just stick that up there. It doesn't feel like it's just thrown on to throw something on.
Okay.
I don't know. I think like throw something on to throw something on is like the cross on Metallica, right? Rising Up, right? But I mean, this is fine. I'm not knocking it. But if you're getting a pro, I don't think you have to feel like you've totally missed out by not having that upper play field. Whereas there's more of a difference between like an AC/DC Pro and an AC/DC Premium, I guess. I don't know. Even though I don't like the lower play field, and I like this upper play field on Aerosmith. So it's complex. It's complicated.
I just gotta get the discussion going. All right, so we talked toys. Let's talk DMD and lighting. Well, we have to update. It's not a DMD anymore.
That's right.
It's got an awesome screen on it.
It's got an awesome screen, and this is Stern's second one because Batman 66 was the first one to use the screen, and I gotta say, it looks really damn good. I'm very impressed by it. I didn't know what they would come out the gate with. I wasn't not impressed with Batman 66. It's just showing video clips right now.
Yep.
Who the hell cares?
Yep.
I mean, really, that's nothing special. But the animations, the art style fits the rest of the art in the game.
Mm-hmm.
I really like what they did. It's cartoony, but it works. I mean, I'd rather them do that than have Aerosmith videos. I think that would get super annoying. It fits the game so well. The animations with like the guy drumming is in time with the song.
Yeah, that was really impressive.
There's Jackie will pop up. It's just fun, man. It screams the whole feeling of the game screams fun, and it's just like, oh my god, this is what pinball's about. It's not about having the best theme in the world or having the most deepest rules in the world. It's just you can have all that, but at the end of the day, is the game fun? And I think the DMD or the LED or the display or whatever you want to call it, I think it fits in well with that whole the fun package of the game.
Yeah, what stood out for me really was the quality of the LCD screen that they used. A lot of times, like even on like the color DMD LCD screens, it's kind of washed out looking, and like you look at it from the sides and the viewing angles aren't that great. And that's one thing that kind of bothers me about color DMD is like I want my black levels to be nice and black and everything to look really crisp. And the screen, whatever screen they decided to use on this, looks awesome.
That's true.
No matter what angle you're looking at it from, it always looks good. The one thing, like nitpicky thing I would say about like just the design they did on the screen is like it can get kind of hard to see the scores.
Oh, the text is kind of
multiplayer at the bottom. It's like white on a really light background. So
it's something easy. That's an easy fix, and hopefully they do it. But it's a great point.
Yeah, so it's like stuff like that they have to keep in mind now that they have. I mean, the LCD screen opens like a world of possibilities as far as animations and what kind of information they can present to you on a screen. And we've seen it with Jersey Jack. He's been feeling his way through that, and the other manufacturers as well. And it's Stern is learning too. It's going to be interesting because I know they contracted this out, so they had Brendan Small do the artwork for this too. Are they going to have internal folks who can do this, or are they going to contract this out every time? It'll be interesting to see what they end up doing.
But it's awesome. I mean, very impressive.
Yep.
Very engaging. It sucks you right in. It's fun to watch when somebody else is playing. Really good. So lighting's also part of that component. I think my favorite lighting moment is when you start multi-ball and the lights kind of shut off and swirl around, and the trunk is shaking, and then the balls open up and like all the lights go off. It's such a cool, fun moment. And the Pro looks great. Mm-hmm. They've added way more colors in the LED than maybe the original incarnations of having Pros with LEDs.
Yeah, there's a lot of color changing LEDs on this. Stern is really, really good at presentation when it comes to playfield lighting.
Oh, totally.
I think they and Jersey Jack are at the top, no doubt.
Yeah, and that's so important.
So important. And it's so easy to overlook, I think, as these new manufacturers come in. It's like, light up the things and show people where to shoot. But it's like when you make something happen in a game, you want it to do something awesome, and you want to be rewarded with this cool, like, cinematics kind of presentation of these animations on the playfield. And choreographing all the lights and sounds is so important to the gameplay experience, and Stern does a great job with that.
So what do you think about gameplay? How does the game shoot?
It's a John board game, so I love it. I love it.
All right, moving on.
I love it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it takes what was good with Kiss and makes it even better. The center ramp is a little tougher to shoot on this, I feel like.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah,
I had to go back and play the both, but I did not notice that.
Maybe the one we have on location is a little tougher. Like Neil's, when we were playing it on the Bro Show on Thursday, his seemed to shoot a little nicer. But I think maybe it's just the difference between a metal ramp and a plastic ramp. The right ramp, Neil was saying it was tough, but I was hitting it okay. It didn't seem as hard as the Kiss right ramp.
Right, it's not a gimme, which is
Yeah.
nice. I mean, you got to have some shots that are tight and tough, and they feel rewarding when you hit them.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's got to be a little wider than the Kiss one.
I would think, or a little less steep, maybe.
Something's going on with that because it is a little more forgiving than the Kiss right ramp.
It might be a little longer, so it's a less steep. I don't know. I'd have to compare them side by side, but it's overall like the gameplay is that John Borg like it's not a simple flow game. There's some flow elements to it, but a lot of times the ball's going out of control. You're shooting it into a magnet that throws it around, or you're hitting the Jackie thing, or you're trying to hit that narrow little shot for the ball lock. So yeah, there's not a lot of gimmies. It's not just like returning to a flipper over and over again. It's making you work for it, but it's super fun while you're.
I love like every shot in the game.
Yeah.
It just feels so good. So I liked Kiss when it came out. I was like, I like the way this shoots. I like the layout of it. And then to have this game that comes along, a couple years later, that is almost the same layout, but just refined. And there's no doubt it's refined. It just plays even better than that. So if you're like the Kiss layout and like how it shoots, you're really gonna love Aerosmith. It's such a pleasure to shoot, man. It's so good. John Borg is just on fire, man.
Yeah.
He's got, like you were saying, he's got shots that are flow. You hit a ramp and it comes back, and it feels good. These shots are good. But then most of the shots are ones where it's putting the ball out of control, and you got to react as a player, and that keeps it interesting. You're not going to have terribly long ball times.
Yep.
You've got to always be engaged with the game. You can't go into autopilot, and that resonates with me. So this, out of all the games, all the music games that John Borg did recently, not including Rolling Stones or Guns N' Roses and all that, but this one is my favorite layout, and it shoots the best in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's
the most interesting.
It's still early in the game, but I have to agree. Out of all the music games, I think it's his best. All right. So rules. I don't know. Why don't you speak to this? I haven't played it as much as you have.
Yeah, I've played enough to at least know what's going on for the most part. There might be some nuances, but it's similar in Kiss in that you pick the song, and the song you pick is going to show you what arrows on the playfield to hit. So the good thing about a game like that is that you're utilizing the whole game, right? You're going to have to hit all the shots. It's not an option. You are rewarded with like playfield multipliers. You got super ramp, super pop. So again, familiar with Kiss. I like that. I like playfield multipliers. I think it's cool being able to select that and blowing up certain shots. One of my favorite rules, and this is not a new thing, but it's the multi-ball with Jackie, is that once you have 3 balls locked, it can start multi-ball, or you can cancel out of it, and you can try to kind of push your luck and try to lock more balls up to 6. And not only do you get a 6-ball multi-ball, but the jackpots are worth more. So I love that push your luck mechanic that we were talking about earlier in the show. It's really good. I think in terms of rules, there are some things there that might not be implemented. I know you collect like coins for doing certain things in there, and this is where maybe some nuances I don't know. I don't think that's in there yet, so I'm intrigued. But what's there right now is that you have a game out of the box that is pretty much complete compared to most of the Sterns that have come out recently. This game's kind of sat on the shelf and was supposed to come out earlier, didn't. Batman 66 came out before it, so it gave them more time to work on it. So you got a game that's pretty polished. Rules wise, it's good. I like the rules in it. Is it anything special rules wise? Like like a special crank it up like Metallica, or building up the jackpot on AC/DC and cashing out, or some of the cool rules on Walking Dead. It's not there yet. It's not that. That does not mean it's not bad. Not every game has to have the most coolest, deepest rules. It would be nice if it did have something to really make it unique and special. The only other thing that I can think of rules-wise that I find maybe a little bit lacking, and now we're just trying to maybe nitpick on it, but there really is 2 multi-balls that are accessible, and that's it, right? So you have Jackie and you have Elevator. Now, I think if you get to one of the mini wizard modes, that's a multi-ball. Maybe the wizard mode's a multi-ball, most likely. But, that's most people aren't going to see that. Whereas with Metallica, you've got Sparky, you've got Coffin, you've got the Crosses, you've got the Snake. Now, these are different games because Metallica is not a mode-based game. It's more of a multi-ball and crank it up. So it's different. But it would be nice if there's maybe another multi-ball. But again, that's not anything to really lower the rating in my book. It's just something I noticed.
Yeah. I tend to prefer mode-based games, I found. Games like AC/DC and Metallica, they're okay, but just there's something with me clicks when it's a mode-based game. And as we were playing it on Thursday, and I was kind of learning the first couple times I played it, I just wanted to see the multi-ball thing happen, so that's what I was going for. But once I started getting into the modes and following the shots around the playfield, that, like you said, that's something I liked from KISS, and they brought it over here, and it's just polished up more, and there's not a gene head spitting it right down the middle, so it's fun, and I like. I can't really add to what you said. It would be nice, and maybe it's coming if there's something. I remember hearing an interview with Dwight Sullivan, and he said he always likes to have something in the game that's just out of your reach. You know what I mean? Like, he can get it once in a while, but
like Horde on Walking Dead,
right? Something right there. It's like, oh man, if I did a little more, I could get to that. So it seems like the elevator multi-ball is kind of tough to get to. Maybe that's something that they tweak down the line to make it a little easier. Maybe it's where it needs to be.
No, don't make it easier. No, it's where it needs to be.
Okay,
that's good.
Like I said, I haven't played it as much
because that was a hook.
Yeah,
remember, like, we were
that's
streaming
true.
and try to get elevator multi-ball.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is the hook there.
Yeah.
But if they want to put another hook there, then great. Something else.
Exactly.
Right? More the better.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, that's about as far as I've played the game. The more I play it, the more I like it. The more I learn about it, the more interesting it is. So that speaks well to what's to come in the future, and I'm sure they have more code updates coming too.
Yeah. All right. So finally, last ability.
I mean, if it's in the ballpark of Metallica and AC/DC and the other John Board games like The Walking Dead, and I don't see any reason why it won't be. Then it's going to be around for a long time. It's going to be a great game for a long time. It doesn't have Lyman at the helm as far as rules, but what's there already is really impressive and fun. So I base my purchase on a game on if this code were never to be updated, would I be okay with what's there?
Okay. And
I think what's there is good as much as I've played it. Once you get it in your house and you play it for a month, maybe you're like, I'm done with this, but I don't see that happening right now.
So it's early, and we could be accused of being in the honeymoon stage.
Yeah.
I think I've played enough pinball that I can recognize when I'm sort of suckered in by a game when I'm not. I think this game has good lastability, and only time will tell. But I've been more excited about this Stern game than any game in recent memory. I absolutely love this game. I've been in love with it after playing it. I can't remember another game out of the box where I felt that. I would see potential in certain games. I might be like, I like how this game shoots, but I'm not there yet. But out of the box, I'm in love with this game. This is one of the best games from Stern in a long time. A complete surprise. I've heard nothing but good things and surprised by a lot of players who have commented and just really enjoy and have fun with this game. So I think Stern really knocked it out of the park. Congrats to John Borg. For me, this game is, without a doubt, a buy. It's I'm going to give it a 9 right now.
Ouch.
That's
high.
Nice. I think what can push over the edge if there's just something special about the game and unique, something that introduces a rule that we haven't seen before, maybe. Mm-hmm. That puts it over the top. I mean, a 9's fantastic, and if you can get higher, great. My favorite game, Walking Dead's a 9.5. So if that tells you guys anything, and you can relate to sort of my taste, then you're really going to like this game if you haven't played it yet.
Yep. I'm gonna go with an 8.5. I feel like that's where it is for me. Maybe it's just I haven't played it enough to really fall in love with it the way Nick has, but I think I gave Walking Dead a 9. So I think this is not Walking Dead, but it's great.
That's good. Oh,
yeah.
That's high praise.
Yeah.
Believe me, if I could get this game today, I would. But I've got other stuff going on in my life, so I can count on the fact that they should be making it for the next couple of years. And one day, I wouldn't be surprised if I get this. I don't think I'm gonna kind of get bored of it. I think it's a great game. So check it out. That's Stern's Aerosmith.
There you go. And there's your 2 reviews for this month.
All right, let's wrap this up, Kev.
Let's do it. So some things you can do to connect with us beyond the podcast. You can follow us on Twitter, twitter.com/Buffalo Pinball. We got a group on Facebook, facebook.com/groups/Buffalo Pinball. We're on Instagram, instagram.com/Buffalo Pinball. You can email us at talkpinball@gmail.com.
So, yeah, if you got some questions, you can tell Kevin and I are happy to answer them. So send us an email.
Yeah, questions, feedback, whatever you want. You want to talk about, slide whistles or whatever. It's all good. You can, if you want to give us some support, you can subscribe to our Twitch channel. It's at twitch.tv/Buffalo Pinball. You can also see us play pinball live 5 days a week. Nick and I each play. I play Monday nights. He plays Tuesday nights. We get together Thursday nights for Brody Even Talk Pinball. Then we got some partners. Our buddy Austin Mackert down in Virginia. He's I think I figured out that they're both in Virginia. So
good job.
You can join the channel if you're from Virginia. So Wednesday mornings 9 a.m. you can see Austin streaming his collection. He just picked up an ACDC, so that was fun to watch. And Saturday nights party time with Mixer Tuna 8 Eastern until he says he goes 8 till late. So there you go.
8 till late. All right, guys, it's been fun. Thanks for joining us, and thanks for listening to our monthly podcast. We'll catch you next month in May.
Yeah,
and,
sounds good.
That's it.
Yep.
Later, guys.
Don't forget patreon.com/Buffalo Pinball. Thank you.